a beanbag injury.
They must have hit him in the head.
I think so. I hope he makes a speedy recovery.
Yeah, we got Michael McDonald, who is in the studio. He's watching right now.
Absolutely.
Also, Erica Davis is watching.
Absolutely.
So congratulations.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for watching us.
It is good to be back. I had a great time in Nashville. Stayed extremely busy. And Jeff he can contest to this. Everybody seemed like they knew where they were going except for me.
Did they have a little small bus to drive you around,
I
get you
walked
acquainted?
around the halls just aimlessly, asking people, I didn't even know where I was going.
Yeah.
So fortunately, with my administrative assistant and some other state representatives that have been there for a while, they stepped up and helped me navigate through the maze. And,
but you got a pin, though, right?
I do have a pin.
That's recognized.
I do have a
at
pin.
The state, the people know that you are a representative.
But I have to say, they really went out of their way to make me feel welcome and to help me, sort of navigate through this maze. But, it was a good fit for me, It was, I've been a licensed barber since 1989, so it was good. It was a good balance for me. So,
my understanding, the barbershop, you opened it up just for your name was $700. Is that correct?
That is correct.
See, I've done some research here.
That is correct, man.
Awesome, yeah.
That is true. That is true.
Well, you did serve in the Marines.
I did. And I don't know if you got out yesterday to participate in the Memorial Day celebration at the courthouse, but it was a good crowd, a great speaker, and was very excited to participate in that. Bill Norwood, of course, we presented the Bill Norwood Award yesterday to Marilyn Nagel, which was deserving. But Bill Norwood, he had a great statement when he won it the first year. Someone referred to him as a hero. Of course, he was a POW. And he says, I'm not a hero. I'm just a country boy from East Tennessee that happens to love his country. And I thought that was a great statement.
Yeah, most of our heroes like that are very humble and down to earth like that.
And we talked about it earlier. What a great way to recognize our heroes, our fallen heroes, and remember them. Because we wouldn't have the freedoms we have right now. We talked about it a little bit. We wouldn't have the freedom to choose where we work, where we live, or what we do in life. We'd have people always telling us what to do.
Exactly.
Now, those folks did not die for socialism, Mark. They did not die so that we could slip into a socialist society. They stood for freedom. They died for freedom, and we need to constantly remember that.
Absolutely.
And those professors in colleges need to understand that and quit spreading that vitriol that they're spreading. But anyway, tell us about your freshman year. So you go over there. I know full well the answer to this question. The first decision you have to make, you go over there and you think, well, I'm going to sponsor this bill, I'm going to sponsor that bill, but the first thing they make you decide is what? Who your leader's going to be, right? And you don't know them that well.
Absolutely.
You throw it in there, and you kind of, and then everybody's just lobbying you, like, oh, you need to vote for him, you need to vote for her, you need to vote for them, but that's a pretty tough decision when you don't know the personalities as well.
Jeff, that's a good point. One day your life is quiet and smooth, and then instantly, the calls, and it's just a deluge of calls and people that are reaching out to you and that's addressing things, and it's really sort of overwhelming because it's hard to organize it. And you don't know these people that are running for speaker and things like that. So you certainly want to make the right decision, but you really don't have all the information to make an informed decision.
Exactly right.
So you have to ask questions and just make your best,
the best that you can do.
The best that you can do, absolutely.
So, and then, of course, we had Representative Glenn Cassida was the Speaker of the House and everything, and then we've heard him in the news lately. And I'll let you go where you want to with that, but. But tell us more about your freshman year. What did you
do? Glenn had, I guess he had made some poor judgments along the way, and so, we're seeking a new direction in leadership. So, looking forward to that. We'll probably meet in July to organize and sort through all of that, and So whoever.
So between now and then, you'll be visited by 2 or 3
Sure.
folks
Sure.
wanting to vie for the speakership.
Right. And whoever gets that will inherit less than favorable conditions. So, but I'm sure it's going to be a smooth transition, and we'll put this behind us and we'll move on. But the freshman year was great. I love. I certainly love Nashville and love serving my constituents in Nashville. But, when I drive 163 miles south and I get to the top of White Oak Mountain and I see that sign that says entering Bradley County,
Yeah.
a big old smile comes
Absolutely,
on my face.
yeah.
Because I'm
Take a
back with my people, man.
Big breath of fresh air, Bradley
absolutely.
County fresh air.
Absolutely, because I know that I'm home now.
That's right.
But it was a good fit for me. I really enjoyed it. It was a wet, cold, windy winter in Nashville. And
Well, I have to ask. I'm sorry. I have to ask this because of what happened in the news and everything with Glenn Cassida. And I know Glenn. Okay,
Sure.
I served with Glenn. He was there when I was there, and so I know him very well. And it just seems like, now from what we could see here in Bradley County, all we knew about was a couple of unfortunate text messages that he had made back and forth with his chief of staff 3.5 years ago. I mean,
Right.
and they weren't nice, and they weren't something that you would like to have out there in public. But my gosh, a career-ending kind of thing. I'm not sure that I can agree with that. I mean,
Right.
he apologized and he wanted to move forward with it. Just seems like there's a lot of gotcha sticking in the back kind of things going on. But maybe there was more to it than we saw. To me, there would have to have been when you have a lieutenant governor in Virginia of the opposite party accused of more or less almost rape or whatever, and he's still sitting there. And then a couple of text messages bring Glenn Cassida down. I just have a little bit of hard time. It makes me feel like we're just playing gotcha and sticking each other in the back, and when we should be sort of circling around and forgiving him a little bit. He wanted forgiveness, and forgive him and let him go on. I don't know. You tell me what the mood was like that.
Well, Jeff, that's a good point. In Nashville, it's a common occurrence to form a witch hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't participate in witch hunts, nor do I want to be the victim of one.
Right.
And I'm not about piling on or shooting or wounded. I simply don't like that. I think it's in very poor taste. I think if someone's made a mistake and they apologize, and let's do our best to move on. But you've got some groups and that just refuse to allow you to do that. So it's a brutal business.
It is.
And I don't know of any other way of saying it. It's a brutal business. And,
I guess the only thing I'd say about that, was a law broken? Did he do anything illegal he could be arrested for? Is that no? I would say no. So why are you prosecuting him? I mean, he didn't break a law. He didn't break maybe a moral ethics or something like that. But he didn't. It's nothing he could be arrested for or put in jail for or prosecuted for.
right.
Well,
Tom, he not only did he not break a law to the best of my ability, I don't even think he broke policy.
Yeah.
So, so when these folks come around between now and July and they're going to want your vote for speakership, are you going to say, well, let me see all of your text messages over the last 10 years to make sure that you don't have anything in there, that might be objectionable. I'm sorry. I feel for Glenn. Of course, I know him. I'll disclose that. I know him and like him, and so I feel for him. But overall, I just think it's bad policy for us as Republicans to do this to one another when we're fighting so hard against the other side, and they circle the wagons, man. They just coalesce around somebody and lift them up and fight for them in the public view instead of fighting against them in the public view, and that just sort of
Well, currently now we got 4 more people watching. We got Denise Cassida, Peaches watching, Gary Jones, Bubba Hall's watching, Brittany Catone, and Miss Beard is watching also.
All
So
right.
we got quite a few people watching you live right
and
now.
we got some people listening.
Yeah.
I hope.
Well, let's talk about some of your bills and stuff. You were co-sponsoring one bill. I understand. It was prohibits abortions after the fetal's heartbeat is detected. Is that one of them that you co-sponsored on that?
Yeah, Tom.
Before abortion?
Yes,
I mean,
sir. That's House Bill 77. I co-sponsored the heartbeat bill. Basically, that prohibits anyone getting an abortion after the heartbeat is detected, which is normally about 6 weeks.
Right.
And my personal opinion, I think life is a gift from God,
Yeah.
and that I'm 100% pro-life.
Yeah. So Alabama, they they really got heated on the floor. Do you think
Yes.
that Tennessee may follow in that suit that's coming up? Do you think it may set a platform for Tennessee for the legislation to move that direction too?
I hope so, Tom. I don't know the answer to that, but
Yeah.
I do appreciate their being assertive and paving the way for that.
I think other states have already started, taking up bills of similar, not maybe identical, but similar fashion. Of course, Tennessee's, I think, is, with the conservative legislatures that we have in place now, I think you're going to see more of that. I really do. Tennessee, you're voting with your constituents when you vote for life in Tennessee, because Tennessee is a right-to-life state. And
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, we're up to 10 watches again. We've got a lot of people watching. Melanie Calfee-Lay is watching. Let's see.
Good morning, Melody.
And Chris Bivens is watching us right now. So tell us some other bills that you were interested in and you really got behind and you thought it would make a difference in our Tennessee.
Tom, House Bill 731, it gives you the ability to renew your handgun permit. So not only am I pro-life, I'm also an advocate of the Second Amendment. Of course.
Being Marine, I would think you would.
So this streamlines...
you got some one-liners for Marines. I know they do.
We definitely want local government to be more streamlined, more effective, and efficient. So House Bill 731, it allows you to renew your handgun permit at the county clerk's office. And one-stop shopping, which I like, and of course it passed with little or no opposition. So very excited about that. I co-sponsored some bills, a lot of cleaned up some language on insurance, and a lot of housekeeping bills and things like that. To sort of get my feet wet and to sort of explore the climate, the political climate down there.
Right.
But I love debating, House bills and sponsoring and co-sponsoring. But I think I get my best enjoyment out of like sticking my foot in the door of some bad legislation.
There you go. Stopping bad stuff.
Stopping bad stuff. I get more enjoyment out of that than trying to tweak.
Do you have anyone out to your mind that you think of, a bad one that you thought it would hurt Tennessee, like the state income tax with Jeff? He hammered on that up there.
Absolutely. I tell you, being a conservative Republican, I'm all about less government. I'm about low taxes, and I'm pro-life and an advocate of the Second Amendment. So anything that opposes that sort of opposes me and my constituents. And it's sort of like I tell the other side, I've got a right to represent my constituents, whether they're in agreement with it or not. So it's really been it's been a lot of fun, and I just enjoy helping my constituents, those that have been overlooked, neglected, or bypassed, that have always felt like that, hey, I can call, but it's never going to get anywhere. I want to change their way of thinking. And I represent 62,702 constituents. And all of them have my cell phone number.
Yeah.
So
do you get many calls?
I get all the time.
Do you?
All the time.
It's a lot more than when you served on county commission, I would say.
It did. Tom, I was fortunate to serve 12 years on the county commission.
Yeah.
And I think that sort of helped me groom me for this, for going to the state. Because I really would have been lost if I just went from, without the stop at the county commission. So it was good for me, and
you have the unique perspective to know too when you're looking at a bill and you're seeing, hey, that's going to impact the counties in such a way. It sounds sort of innocuous. Sounds like, oh yeah, it sounds good, but you can sort of see how, well, as a county commission, how are you going to have to deal with this once we pass this? So you got that perspective as well.
Jeff, a lot of these representatives, they're experts at camouflaging bad bills.
Yeah.
So I really sort of take my time and do my research and try to make the best decision possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're up to 12 people watching right now live. We've got Shane Pierce watching and Cindy Chase also. So
Awesome.
welcome aboard. Cell phones, driving with cell phones. I
Yes,
see
sir.
a bill went through that, and
Yes, sir.
it passed. So it starts to July 1st. I want people
Right.
to know, our listeners to know, so you let them know what's going on with that, and what they need to know.
Right. You
With
know,
this bill.
it is. It's just about being more. You know, statistics show that driving and texting is more dangerous than driving while drinking. So basically, we're just trying to make it a safer place, you know, and certainly don't want to overstep our boundaries and trying to impose our views on other people and drivers on what they do in their own car. But it's just about being safe, you know. It's about protecting the other
Yeah.
person. And so, you know, speaking of drinking and driving, you know, that's a bill that I'm doing some research on and that I'm looking forward. I want to be more assertive on the second offense DUIs. You know, Tom, if you got a DUI today, you'd only have a 17% chance of ever getting another one. But if you got a second DUI, you'd have almost a 70% chance of getting a third.
Wow.
So really want to be assertive on that, being more aggressive toward, I'd like to make it even a Class C felony, which is punishment for 11 months and 29 days. But that time could be shaved off if you submit it to a state-approved substance abuse facility, you know. And it's sort of like an intervention for someone that has a problem. Maybe they're self-medicating or it's got some personal issues, you know, and it sort of intervenes in their life and it protects our citizens too. So,
Yeah.
you know, just trying to find the balance, you know, and, you know, getting very little traction on that, or mainly because it has a huge physical note.
Okay. What are some of the other things you're looking for this coming year that you got your eye on? You talked about DUI. Is there anything else you got out there that you want to, that's caught your eye or ear that you really want to dive into a little bit more?
Right. Maybe tweaking some existing bills, you know, and trying to rally some support. I like the fact of streamlining local and local government. You know, I want to make it more user friendly, and so anything that I can do to help my constituents do that. Certainly don't mind addressing things at the state level, but you know, I'm all about taking care of my constituents.
Well, good. Now, the city is applying for a grant. It's a federal grant for Emmons Street. It's a $25 million grant, and anything you can do to help us with that, I would appreciate it.
I like
I mean, because that's right down Main Street, and, you know, we're still Harrison Pike, exit 2.
Absolutely.
Is there any traction on that? I mean, is there anything out there? I know MPO, I think we put it on the list on that.
Right.
But I don't know if it'll ever come to or not.
Still working on that, Tom. But one thing that I like about that is twofold. First of all, it funnels a lot of traffic downtown.
Yeah.
And I think, and I appreciate what you're doing on the city council because, you know, not only is it going to be more pleasing to the eye, but it's going to be more pedestrian friendly.
Yeah.
And you know, there's new loft type living, there's condos,
Yeah,
there's new
650 units, livable units that could be downtown. We're talking all the roads and infrastructure, water and sewers there. So we've got with the Whirlpool,
I'm
a
loving
great thing where you can walk around. You got to have residential downtown, like in Nashville,
Yes, sir.
in order for business to survive. If you don't have residential living downtown, the business will never survive.
Right.
So
right.
you got to have both of them.
That's one ingredient, no doubt. I think it's very wise to do that. You know, nowadays, you know, when I grew up, everyone wanted a 3,500 square foot home and 3 acres.
Yeah,
Now,
not me.
hey,
Not me.
now
Somebody looking at a condo, a 2-bedroom condo.
I'm loving
Actually,
it, man.
Chattanooga, because of walking distance to a lot of the areas and the pups we have. I mean, I'm just hoping Cleveland can set that. You know,
Well, even the younger kids, though, they're not even aspiring to that anymore. The younger kids seem to be gravitating toward the smaller houses, smaller spots and spaces and downtown conveniences and that sort of thing. They're not looking at suburbia like we were, and still do kind of look towards suburbia, but
Sure.
They want to be where the action is, downtown.
Absolutely.
So, well, I see your first House bill that you came up, Bill number 1, online betting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it went through. So where does it stand right now? What's
Tom, this is of course it passed, and this is my stance on it. You know, we live about 50 miles from a casino, and of course, you know, betting is in existence now, and but this is it has more regulations, and it's more of a controlled environment than the maybe just a reckless type of behavior that we have, but I definitely supported that. I thought that was, you know, when you have scratch-offs and you have, it's not the brick and mortar building that you might have, but online betting, you know, now if you bet online and it's in existence today, all of your money would go overseas. It would be, you'd go to the Dominican Republic or someplace like that, but that keeps it here. It keeps it in the state, and it benefits our schools, and it's a number of different things. But it's like the Tennessee lottery.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff was he was part of that Tennessee lottery, believe it or not. He was the swing vote on that.
Yeah, I was against it before I was for it.
He got took out of the room and talked to, and he comes back and says, "Okay." And
I've had a few of those conversations.
And he said, "I guess," and when we talked before, correct me if I'm wrong, the only reason you would do it if it just went for schools only, and that was it. I mean, it had to go for.
Well, I went to the lottery scholarship. Every time I see those lottery scholarship commercials, I just beam with pride because I know that I'm the one that did that. And when I say I'm the one, I mean I was the one. Steve Cohen, the sponsor of the bill, nobody else was there with me. But to get my vote, I made sure that it went to those lottery scholarships. Now you say, well, why didn't it go to the K through 12? If it went to K through 12, they would have had the power to take money away from K through 12 that they had traditionally given them. So they could have just replaced that money in K through 12. Only by setting up this new program that never had been set up before and funding only that program would I be able to assure that all the money went toward education. And so that was why I stood firm on that. And I can honestly say that's probably my single largest contribution to the state is that issue right there, because I am responsible for the lottery scholarships being
Cleveland
in existence.
State benefits from that 100%. Yeah. Everybody goes there can get that scholarship. So
Absolutely.
There's another House bill here that caught my eye. I thought this was already washed away. It was House Bill 1151, which exposure includes restrooms, locker rooms. I guess it goes toward sharing bathrooms on that part. It prohibits. It passed and went through. I didn't know we were still talking about that in the schools, I guess.
You know, Tom, it seems like that's an issue that's never going away, and it just continues to resurface. And I assume it's because people keep revisiting. They won't let it.
You just keep hammering away until it actually breaks the glass. Is that what they do?
Right.
Somebody just keeps putting it up there. Is that what they do, Jeff? They just keep putting it up there, and you finally wear you out to where.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what the lottery had been before the legislature for over a decade before it finally passed. Yeah. And then you'll think that you killed a bill over there, Mark, and then next year you'll see it pop right back up. I mean, it'll be there, and you're going to have to keep killing it over and over and over.
You know, it's funny, Jeff. They'll take the same bill and repackage it. Try to dress it up, put a bow on it.
Yeah, put some lipstick on a pig.
Well, the other one too was the vouchers. The vouchers was huge because Governor Lee really wanted to do that, because you've heard the story. I've heard the story of the young gentleman that he had, and he helped through and put him to another school, and saw how well it did in your metro areas where you have a lot of failing schools, and the kids have to suffer for that. So my hat's off to y'all, because you always put the kids first. And being on the county commission, you've heard this. They always about the kids.
Right.
Now, when you do something like this, it's about the establishment.
Yep.
Oh, you're going to kill the staff. But I don't think that's the case.
No.
The Bradley County, Jeff, we talked about it. City and county both do a wonderful job. I don't think it's going to impact them like charter schools at one time. Right. I just think it's a fear not knowing.
Exactly.
But my hat's off to y'all to at least give those kids in these low-income, poor areas the opportunity to go. Now, one thing I'm kind of worried about is they can actually put the money into the savings fund or something, into a bank account, and they use it. Now, I don't know about the fraud on that. How it can come out.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. And some last-minute things done, too. Actually, that the schools that lose these individuals can still collect the money for them.
Sure.
I mean, that was a last minute kind of tucked under. So
Right.
if you read his things, you kind of see some things underlined and it works.
Tom,
on that part.
and I appreciate you bringing that up. That was probably the most stressful time
Yeah.
in Nashville this winter. ESAs or
Mm-hmm.
vouchers, depending on, whoever's talking. It of course, it doesn't affect Cleveland or Bradley County, but it does affect these priority schools, which are basically failing schools
Right.
in places like Memphis and Shelby County
Chattanooga.
and Chattanooga. And I thought that put our children in the best chance of success. And I felt like they had an opportunity. Nowadays, if you wanted school choice in Memphis, you just had to move. So this I think helps those failing schools. I think it helps the students there. There was 14 amendments to the bill. So the way that it started off was not the way that it finished.
Yeah.
There was a lot of adjustment and a lot of tweaking along the way to get more people on board, and some people wanted to opt out of it. Some people, so it was a very complex issue. But I probably had more sleepless nights over the ESAs and vouchers than any other bill that hit the floor. I can assure you.
I can imagine.
Well, the opposition was so strong and organized, and
Sure.
and people that you know and love, and local folks that we respect a lot are coming not just against it, they're strongly against it.
Right.
But in the back of your mind, you know that it's something good that can really benefit somebody. But then you have these folks that you love and respect that are so dead set against it. So it's a very hard spot to be in.
It was a
I
tough
don't
spot
envy
to
that.
be in.
Yeah.
Well, here again, we're sitting in the studio at Whoop Radio 99.9, and it's the top of the hour with Representative Mark Hall came in. And Mark, we appreciate you coming
Hey,
in. We
thanks
really
for-
do.
thanks for
Thank
allowing
you
me to
for
be here.
the job you did at the county.
Thank
and
you,
thank
sir.
you what you're doing at the state.
Thank
And
you.
you always, and I'll tell you what, I can always call Mark, and he always returns my call.
Absolutely.
And
Thank
it
you.
always does that. And Mark, I think the world of you.
Thank you.
So if
And
anything,
likewise, Tom.
anything I can do for you in the
Absolutely.
city, let's keep the contacts open and work together to make Cleveland and Bradley County a better place for all.
Well, tell them I appreciate the job you do. I know it's a thankless job a lot of times.
Yeah.
And you just
Just like yours. Jeff's been
But,
there. Jeff's driving the
yeah.
bus. We're in the back.
No.
He's taking these places like, guys, you got to see this.
Yes,
Now,
that's what
you
he
guys,
does.
you guys will understand this one day. It's better to have a friend in those positions than it is to be in there yourself.
It's kind of like a boat.
Yeah, exactly. Better, get a friend with a boat. Now I want a friend with an airplane. I need a friend with an airplane.
I'm not buying an airplane. I'm not going to do that. You have to buy the airplane.
But I appreciate you both. Hey,
Yeah.
I consider you both friends, and thank you for the job you do, and thank you for being leaders of this community. And I think everybody working together just simply makes this a better place to live.
Well, if
All
we
right.
could pick a day through the week next year when you're back in session, we have Senator Bell call in on Thursdays to give us a legislative update from the Senate perspective. We would love to have you call in one day
I'd love to.
through the week to give us a House perspective of things and make that a regular segment during session.
I would love to.
We find that the banner just doesn't cover the session as good as it should, and we're void of information. So we'd like to have that kind of direct link with you, if you don't mind.
Jeff, I would love to, and also just know that you have an open invitation in Nashville. Please feel free to drop in on me anytime.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to call before I come. I'm not going to show up.
I tell my assistant, if anyone comes in that capital from Cleveland or Bradley County, hey, let me know about it. And I'm going to stop whatever I'm doing.
Isn't
Yeah.
it amazing how many people do? Come
Yes.
over? It seems like, yeah.
Real quick, the committees. Are you on any committees
I
up
am
there?
Health Committee and Insurance with a subcommittee of mental health and substance abuse, which is huge.
Okay. All right. I just wanted people to know that. Again, State Representative Mark Hall in studios with us. Fastest Hour on Radio, Jeff, is come and gone.
Thank you,
Again, thank you
Representative.
so
Appreciate
much.
you.
Thank you,
All right.
Jeff.
All
Thanks,
right,
Tom.
folks. Well, we'll be back Thursday morning. This Memorial Day sort of got us off of sync here, but we'll be back Thursday.